Welcome to the Real Estate Debate, where we debate the hottest topics in San Diego real estate. Let's meet today's panelists. Guest number 1, Mike Aqrawi, broker and top agent in East County for Realty Executive. Guest number 2, David Serpa, owner and team leader for David Serpa Homes team. And guest number 3, Kris McCullough, realtor for Kim Steele and Associates. And now, your host, Derek Evans.
All right, fellas, welcome to the Real Estate Debate for television. Great to have you all here.
Thank you.
Especially David, first time here.
Especially me.
Mike, first time here. This is an old grizzly veteran. He was born for this stuff. So it's great to have you guys here for the first time.
Thank you.
So just the fellas today, talking about the hottest topics in San Diego real estate. We got 2 topics on the table, one for buyers, one for sellers.
Sure.
We'll ask whether you agree or disagree with the statement that I give you, and then tell us why. All right, so let's jump right in. Topic number 1. If interest rates go up in December, as many people expect, a lot of chirping going on about interest rates going up in December, this will cause property values to go down. Therefore, I should sell my house now before it loses value. Kris.
I 100% disagree. Well, you know, and it's a hard one because it really depends, in my opinion, on where the person stands at that moment. But I disagree. In fact, I remember last December, like, oh, interest rates, they're going to go up. They went down. I think it's going to happen again. I think interest rates are going to go below 3%.
Really?
But I do. I deeply do. And I've done a lot of research. I don't think we have enough time on this episode to talk about that, but I think they're actually going to go down. But let's say they did. Let's say interest rates did go up. And would it really drive the housing market prices down? What we have here is an inventory issue in most of the markets throughout San Diego, and I don't think that's going to be the case. And even if it does, I remember when interest rates, when they hit 6%, oh man, I'm going to buy, buy.
Yep.
Okay, so they go up to 4% or 5%. Is it really that earth-shattering?
That's the question.
Right.
Yeah.
I
That's the question.
don't think it is, and I think it comes down to if somebody wants to sell, they're going to sell. If you want to hold out, I still think we have about a good 2-year run, and you want to gain that appreciation, I'd ride it out.
Okay. He says write it out. David, where are you at on this?
You know, I tend to disagree with you a little bit here, and I guess that's why it's a good thing that we're on the debate show. But, you know, I tell everybody we don't have a crystal ball. Everything is just speculation. And so what we have right now is we're in an election year. And nothing really can affect home prices like consumer confidence. And I think that, you know, when you've got 50% of the people talking about leaving the country if their guy doesn't win, and I'm not going to get too political here, but, you know, if Hillary Clinton ends up getting elected, I think in the short term, I think that would be good for real estate. Whereas if Donald Trump is elected, maybe in the long term, it's good for real estate, but it's bad in the short term. And so I think that that's more something to look at. But that being said, exactly like what you said, interest rates, everybody was expecting them to go, all these lenders are saying, you have to buy now, because interest rates are going to skyrocket. And what happened? They went up about a blip, and then they plummeted. And then you had the same lenders that were telling people that they had to buy now, refinancing their own homes. Mm-hmm. So interest rates stayed down all year. I don't think that they're going to raise them right before the election. I think that would be catastrophic for the home values. But that being said, I do think it's a good time to sell. I don't think that there's any way to know what the election is going to do to home values. And I do think that interest rates are going to go up in probably January or so of next year. And I don't think that they're going to keep them where they are. But even if they do go up,
they have to go up. I mean, honestly, interest rates have to go up.
Well,
when you look at the GDP and how it's based, they have to go up.
We have to prepare for the next recession. And in order to get your way out of a recession, you know, historically, they bring interest rates down. And where we are right now, we can't afford to bring interest rates down. But it's not working
anymore, and I think that's the thing. They're hoping that by decreasing, it's going to spur the market. And if you looked, the GDP used to be huge when it came to real estate because it touches so many facets. Hasn't spurred it. Still isn't driving people to sell.
Yeah.
Right?
But they still have to reload the gun, though. I mean, the Fed still has to reload the gun.
Right. But
they got to put those bullets back in the clip.
I agree. Yeah. I agree. And they have to adjust the interest rates. The challenge is, you know, right now they have QE3 that's been injected into the market, which is an artificial stimulant to the market in order to attribute for all of that extra spending that we've done over the last 13 years.
Interest rates being low, that doesn't target home sellers. It targets buyers to buy. And so prices have gone up. Right. Which increases the likelihood that people are going to sell their house because they now have equity. But I guess it's kind of a chicken or the egg conversation. Right. But I think that right now it's a great time to sell. Prices are at a high since 2007. And if you're wondering whether or not you should sell your house, yes, sell your house. Call me up. Let's do it.
Mike, let me throw you into the middle of that.
Well, if you throw me in, I disagree with both of you guys, because what I say is, like, you know, if you want to sell, there is a demand, sell it now. Sell your home now, because we have a lot of buyers. There is a demand. We have low inventory, shortage on inventory. If you list your home, it's gonna sell within 1 week, 15 days maximum. It won't stay on the market. So I would suggest not to wait until February, where you're gonna have a lot of other home sellers, your neighbors maybe, next to you, selling their home, and now you're gonna have the problem of you have more competition. You know, your neighbors, if he's selling his house and his house better than your house, then, you know, guess
Mike,
what? The buyer gonna buy his house, not your house.
We actually agree.
Yeah, now we agree, but I'm gonna disagree in regard the interest rate thing.
Yeah.
You said the interest rate is gonna go up.
Sure.
So I say interest rate is, I don't think it's gonna go up soon. Maybe after election, or we don't know, but you know, the rates will be stable for maybe the next year. That's my opinion.
Sure.
But if somebody wants to sell his home, especially in East County, I have a lot of buyers and investors, please call me.
Yeah, well, I was reading, and you know, Forbes is saying that 73% of people that are market experts are saying that there will be a rate increase in, you know, January, February of this 2017.
That's what they said last year.
And, but that's exactly what I was going.
last year.
That's what they said last year.
But does it really matter? I think that's my big thing.
It has to go up.
It has to
has
go
to
up.
go up. I
It
agree
has
with
to.
you. It has to go up, because I know it's very low, 3.5, 3.2. It's very low. It has to
And
go
drowning, right?
Yeah.
You know?
Because of what happened in Britain when they, you know.
And it does. It has to go up.
Yeah,
I think my thing is,
that's why,
does it
you know.
really matter unless it's a significant uptick? I mean, still, 3%, 4%, 5%, 6% is free money. It's free money,
yeah.
when
Yeah.
you're buying a house as a buyer over a 20-year, a 30-year, 15-year, however you want to do it. It's free money. It's fantastic to buy at 3%. Amazing to buy at 5%. Absolutely a home run if it's at 6%. I'll take that any day of the week.
I just got a 15-year fixed on my house at 2.75%.
Yeah.
So I mean, like, it's a great time to buy, because interest rates are so low, inventory is low, but you know, there's going to be a problem in any market. And it's a great time to sell because prices are so high.
That's right.
But people are so worried about whether or not, you know, our price is going to come down in January, February. Do you want to buy a house? Can you afford it? And I think that at the end of the day, you just got to throw all this other garbage out and think, can I afford it? Do I want to buy? And is it going to be a smarter financial decision for me to buy than it is for me to rent?
Over the long term.
Over the long term.
It's an investment.
Yeah.
Right. Or you could say it's a hedge.
Yeah,
it's a hedge.
absolutely.
Which is technically, I guess, what it really is. It's a hedge. You're hedging your housing costs by saying, I'm going to fix it in at this much.
Sure.
So I don't have to worry about rents doing this.
Yep.
But I'll disagree with all three of you.
Ooh, let's do it.
Yes.
Ooh, get fancy.
Rates do not have to go up.
Okay.
I agree.
Well,
They
you
don't.
agree with him.
Yeah.
They don't have to go up.
We're all getting very confused about who we agree and disagree with.
Rates do not have to go up, because the mortgage rates are based on the mortgage bond market.
Sure.
And as long as there's demand for a fixed return, which there is, because you know, banks aren't giving you anything. I mean, there's no place to get a fixed return. Mortgage bonds are the best place for big money to go to get a fixed return. Even if it's only 3%, that's good. If you're playing with a lot of cake, if you got a few $100 million, 3%'s okay.
Yep.
You're making enough money. But you know, if you have $10,000 in your savings account, 3%'s not enough. You got to do something else to try to get to that retirement goal.
Yeah.
So the thing is, the big money is still going to be paying and still buying those mortgage bonds at those low rates, and maybe even lower. So I could see rates go lower. It does make sense.
It does make
But
sense.
until that demand, until there's some other place to go to make better, safer return than that, that money's still going to be there.
Absolutely.
And rates are going to
And
stay
it's,
low. And
again,
it could be
because-
forever.
Sure, it could be, but the thing is I mean, when you look at the real estate market and what it's been doing and what it's done historically, at some point or another, things are going to cool off a little bit. And you know, everybody's saying that we're going to see a dip, and that it's not going to be what it was in 2007 and 2008, but there is going to be a dip. And then how do we see ourselves out of that? Unless we do it artificially, which is what you were talking about earlier. How do we see ourselves out of that if we already have interest rates at 3.6%?
So when I look at interest rates, I think interest rates have to go up for a very different reason than actually trying to spur a market. But that's I don't think we have enough time to talk about all that here.
Let's talk about it.
Not enough time. But what I would say is that I do agree. They don't have to come up. When you look at big money and the way that they're leveraging their capital in order to get a return, they absolutely do not have to go up, and they will take less. And when you look at the fact that the Fed is releasing cash on top of the cash that's lent against, So banks are able to make 60% return on your money anyways. And there's always a return to the people that are investing, whether it's a garbage market where they're tanking out and people are there's always going to be a return for big money. So to me, in my opinion, I think it's going to go down. I don't think there's going to be a rise. There doesn't need to be in interest rates. The only reason we should have rise in interest rates is for the overall betterment of the GDP as far as a nation and spurring job growth. But as far as needing, nope. I don't think it needs to be there at all.
To answer your question, even if the interest rate goes up in next year, what's going to happen? I always, the question is said, if he's going to sell or not. So let him sell now, and that's it.
No, I agree with
Totally. All right, guys. Okay. Great conversation. Let's jump into topic number two. This one's for buyers. If you're a buyer, it's better to wait until the next downturn to buy a home, as prices have just simply gotten too high in San Diego County, and they will have to come down at some point. David, agree or disagree?
Well, I think that we're kind of going right back where we were with the last topic that we had talked about. But in my opinion, prices are only going to go up. I think that inventory is low. Inventory has been low for a couple of years now. There's a lot of people that have been waiting to buy for prices to go down, and they've been severely disappointed. So I think that if that's the reason why you're waiting to buy is for prices to come down, you may want to seriously rethink where the market has been trending for the last couple of years.
Well, I think that's one of the biggest issues is because people said, well, I'm going to wait. Prices are too high, and then they keep going up and up and up and up.
Sure.
And so now you're just building a backlog of people who are waiting.
That's right.
And the more people you have waiting, the less opportunity there is for prices to go down. Because as they start to come down a little bit, you've got all these people waiting, and someone's going to probably jump in there.
Sure.
So there's more people to jump in. That's the biggest support mechanism that we have in this market right now.
Well, I would say it's no different than on the seller side too. We have a ton of sellers, and we talk to people while we were driving here. I had a phone call, and they're always waiting to sell, thinking, "Oh, I'm going to make more money. If we hold out a little bit longer, we can make more money."
Sure.
I think that's the biggest issue with San Diego right now. Lack of inventory is because people are trying to hold out to see if they can get more, or they're coming up with. I went on an appointment a couple weeks ago. 20 homes, comps, all the same. His next door neighbor, same house, 675. I want 800,000. Where'd you get that number? Zillow said so.
Yeah.
What?
Well, it's worth more because it belongs to me.
Zillow was Z. Like
it's
a fake one.
I think you said it best.
Yeah.
Can you afford it? Can you afford it, and do you want it? And if you can afford it and it makes sense, because I think the big one is hedging against, which is what you said, hedging against rentals. Rentals are just going to continue to skyrocket.
Yes.
Whether it's what was it last year? 16 or 18%, I think, in San Diego. I couldn't remember what the rise was.
It was a huge number. I think it was more.
Huge.
It might have been more than that.
It was insane. And it's only going to it's going to get better if you own rentals. It's going to get better.
People can't even afford to rent a house.
That's right.
And people can't. And they're being priced out of apartments. And so you've got. I've talked to several people where they're like, well, I'm renting a house with a couple of other people, and they're adults. And so we're in a situation. And of course, there's not a lot of children that are renting houses with other people. That might be a little bit weird. But it's we're too old. The generation that is our generation. They're looking to buy, but they're being priced out of the market. And I'm sorry to say so, but it's only going to get worse. The weirdest conversation that I've had probably in my real estate career is one that keeps popping up. I've had people telling me, I want to sell while inventory is low, and then I want to buy when prices go down. And I'm like, well, how long are you planning on renting? A, and B, if you're selling your house and buying another house, you're gonna get it on one end or the other.
Yeah.
You're buying in a market that's here. You're also selling in a market that's here. So you're going to make a little bit more money, but you're going to have to spend a little bit more.
Yeah. Well, I disagree. If you are a buyer and you want to buy now, buy now. Like especially if your rent equal to your payment or maybe less, but it's better to own a home now, and then you start paying your payments and build the equity, and then it's a tax write-off or deduction where you can get they don't.
You're not making your money just one way.
Yeah, especially if you qualify now to buy a home, it's the best because the interest rates are low, and even now you are saying maybe the prices are gone up. If you compare it to 2005 and 6 market, it still didn't reach the top.
Sure.
I feel like if you can buy now, buy and don't wait.
And you're disagreeing with me, but I think we're both
Disagreeing
agreeing.
with the topic.
Disagreeing with the
statement.
topic.
With the
Okay,
statement.
then we're on the same page. We agree.
Well,
All right, Mike. Let's go all the way.
Very nice, very nice.
First time.
Very nice, very nice. Well, yeah, I think that's the big issue with the buyers. There's two things that you said there, especially on the rental side. So we have two layers underneath this market right here that would have to get broken through. The market in 2007, 2008 was very fragile. There were no layers underneath.
Right.
Sure.
The rental market was a joke. People couldn't give away their homes to rent them to people. I mean, houses were renting for $1,800, brand new, because people had negative amortization payments that they were making on it. That's not here anymore. Right. So you have these two really big layers underneath of pent-up demand, people who've been waiting, the fence sitters, and then you also have the people who are renters who are paying tons of money.
Oh yeah.
Sure.
To rent, and rents are going up. And every time someone's rent gets raised, it's a trigger.
Yep.
So every year when you get your new lease and rent went up another $100, that's a trigger for those people to go, sick of this.
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely.
And there's only one way to stop it.
Yeah.
So you have those two nice layers underneath this marketplace that will probably hold quite a bit of downside action. How much will it hold? I don't know. But it's nice to know that there's a couple layers underneath it.
So what do you think is the fix? Because this is something that David and I have talked about a couple times. I personally believe what's really going to adjust the market is spec builders and developers have to come out. And the price points are almost there. I know we're starting to do a lot of development deals and developers are coming in. We just listed a property last week, $7.8 million, and it's basically a development land deal. And we have two more right behind that. I think that's really where we need to go to adjust where the market is, to create a natural drop, as a healthy drop in overall pricing and create availability. I believe availability is the only way to fix this. But California won't get out of its own way because every time they turn around and come up with a new way of juicing developers and builders.
Yeah, they do.
I read a report
That's the key.
Yesterday, and it was talking about how builders' confidence is higher than it's been in the last 7 years, but that it's still much lower than it needs to be. And so when you're looking to buy, look at builders. What are the builders doing? Are the builders building out? Because people look into markets and they say, well, is it a good time to buy? Well, look around. What's being developed? If there are builders building, they don't build houses to have them sit empty. Right. So if you're looking at all the big builders and they're building and they're creating more inventory and they're moving inventory, it's a good time to buy. If they're frozen and they're not building, and you've seen the same tract sitting half developed for the last 6 months, then don't buy. Follow smart money.
And that's just one of the rules of thumb, right? Anything else to add, Mike?
Well, as we explained in the topics, if you are a seller, you want to sell it now. I know it's the end of the year, but it's the best time to sell because we have low inventory. And if you are a buyer and want to buy, still is the best time to buy because interest rates are low, and if you can't afford the loan, then do it.
If you qualify,
yeah, if you qualify,
you should buy.
Yeah,
fellas,
right.
fantastic debate. Really appreciate your time. Thank you so much for coming today.
Thank you for having me.
Fantastic stuff. Thank you.